What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gaming Outsider and episode 307. On this week's episode in news, we're going to be talking about the Sony State of Play live stream, the Intellivision Amico presentation, as well as Rocksteady's Suicide Squad. And guess what? No xCloud on iOS. I'm a little upset. You'll also hear Zach talk about Fall Guys, as well as Marvel's Avengers beta that he checked out. I played a game called Double Kick Heroes on Xbox One, and Rel stopped by to talk to us about Metamorphosis. We wrap things up by talking about our favorite video game vehicles and some of the ones we didn't like just as much either. Let's go ahead and get right into it. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 307 of the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, August 10th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends Zach Parkerson.
Well, hey, happy to be back.
Yes, and Chris Behrensmeyer.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Doing all right, doing all right. Zach, it is good to have you back, man. Sorry we missed you last week.
That's okay, no problem. Here now, and you know what? There's some news this week that I need to be here for. So
there's quite a bit of news this week we got to get to. We'll get to that in just 1 second, but how's your week been, guys? Anything new and exciting happening? All right, moving on.
I was going to say, I guess not. Man, I don't even remember, like, what I watched on TV or anything. Nothing.
I have been sitting in my crafting station for hours upon hours and watching Big Bang Theory. That's what I've been
Big Bang
doing.
Theory is great.
I love it.
I watched Harry Potter. That's
Harry
great.
Potter's good. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Those again.
Great video game talk.
Yeah. What did I play? I don't know. I guess we'll
get to
later.
that. We'll get to that. But I do want to mention, before we get to the news very quickly, as a reminder, we do have our community game night coming up on Friday, August 21st at 8 o'clock Central Time. If you would like to come join some online gaming goodness, here's what we're going to do, because we don't know what we're going to play yet. So the plan is we've got some community managers in our Discord channel, and what they're going to do is we're going to kind of all congregate in one place on Discord and see what games everybody has to play and kind of break off and branch off into different groups. I'm going to be there for sure. Not sure what we're going to play. I'd love to play some Fall Guys because I know.
Yeah, I predict Fall Guys will be in the rotation.
Yeah, that'll have to be there. We've been talking about Borderlands for I feel like 2 years now, so that could be a possibility. We're going to do some online gaming, have some fun together, chat, and probably have a couple drinks in hand at the same time. So mark your calendars, because we would love to play with you guys. Again, Friday, August 21st at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And if you haven't joined the Discord, do so, because that's going to be kind of our meetup spot. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you get linked in on that. But the link for that is in the show notes for this episode. But let's go ahead and jump right into the week's news. All right, like I mentioned, quite a few tidbits to talk about this week. First off, we got Suicide Squad was teased by Rocksteady on Twitter, as well as a new trailer for Mortal Shell, and Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Dry Twice, which is going to be hitting on October 15th. Yes, they made another Leisure Suit Larry game. Also, we had Sony's State of Play live stream. We had the Intellivision Amico event. We found out some new games coming to Microsoft Game Pass, as well as Project xCloud not coming to iOS, and then a tease for Injustice 3, and also a leak for the Xbox Series X controller. Lots and lots to talk about here. Who wants to start and where?
Well, I guess I may as well just get out of the way that we know what Rocksteady's next game is.
Was this a surprise? A legit surprise? I feel like we kind of expected it.
No, in fact, it was kind of disappointing.
Really?
Just because, and I've said this on Twitter, I guess I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I feel like they're swinging low. What they could do.
With Suicide Squad?
Yeah, because they're gone. They haven't made a game in 5 years. They finally come out and announce, and Suicide Squad's a property?
Yeah, that's a little disappointing.
I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful, guys, especially that it was just basically not a screenshot, but what do we call it? Like a poster.
Right.
with like a target on Superman's head. So
That excites you?
I mean, have you ever played a game where you actually hunt down superheroes?
Okay, here's my disappointment. Let's just get out of the way because I don't want to be in total negative. Let me preface first, Rocksteady has made nothing but incredible video games, so I will almost certainly be wrong.
Right.
But when I see the announcement, it is, first of all, I'm disappointed that I'm going to murder the Justice League before I play as any of them in a video game.
That's fair.
And two, it just, Suicide Squad as a property pretty much just screams third person hero ability, cooldown ability shooter, where it'll be a games as a service thing. And I feel like it's almost gonna be like Avengers, but with Suicide Squad.
I was just gonna say you're worried it's gonna be like a Destiny type situation, but a Suicide Squad.
That is my worry. Now I think Rocksteady, like they made Arkham Asylum, they had so many innovations, things that everyone copies today, Detective Vision, that melee combat. So hopefully they bring something new and exciting to it. And I'm going to remain hopeful because they're a hell of a developer, and Arkham City is one of the best games ever made.
I agree. CB, why are you cautiously optimistic?
I'm not cautiously optimistic. I'm actually kind of pissed off.
Yeah, don't feed optimism down his throat.
Yeah.
Why are you pissed off?
Because, Zach, I think you can back me up on this. The last tease they had was the Court of Owls.
Right. Well, but that's going to be Warner Brothers Montreal. That game's still coming.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Why am I still waiting on that game versus like, oh, here's Suicide Squad, B-list? Where's my damn Superman game?
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're making a game, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, right? That's the URL, so it's assumedly the name. And it feels weird to like, I'm going to murder the Flash before he ever gets his own video game. It just feels weird to me.
I think it's different, though. We always want something different. And it's not like, superheroes never die in comics, right? I mean,
right. I don't think they're going to die here either, but yeah.
Right. So it's not like you're going to see them and then you'll get a Justice League game later on.
But if you're going to do a villain game, I would rather have a decent villain. Like, give me Lex Luthor.
Are you gonna play as Lex Luthor?
Wouldn't that just be SimCity?
Yeah, like what do you do as Lex Luthor?
But I just feel that there's so many better villain properties that you can do. I have a feeling the only reason this game is being made is because of the movie. And I wasn't overly a fan of the movie. It's not that it was a bad movie. I just wasn't a fan of it because
it just wasn't for you.
No, it really wasn't, because to me that movie was sold entirely on Will Smith and Margot Robbie.
Well, you could sell me on most things with Margot Robbie.
And I'm getting a little Robbied out. So
Robbied out. What?
She wore a lot of clothing in the first Suicide Squad, and that was okay.
Well, after watching
respectfully is what I mean.
Yeah, but after watching that Harley Quinn movie, it's just ugh.
Oh, I love Birds of Prey.
I
loved it. I really feel like Harley Quinn's probably going to be the main character of this game, I would assume, because she is she's got to be a bigger deal than Batman right now to DC. It feels like she got animated show, movies, video game, like she's all over the place.
Isn't her animated show like R-rated too?
And it's phenomenal.
I've heard nothing but good about that.
It's incredible.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, but I say, you can make weekly raid bosses where Deadshot and Harley Quinn and Captain Boomerang go hunt down Superman or something, and he's super hard to beat, and you get crazy loot drops if you beat him or something. I guess, like, I want something different. I know you say, like, villains hunting the good guys is different, but I'm thinking about the gameplay and just everything that the property screams to me as, oh god, we've had a dozen of these. So I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you are too. For number one, I hope it's not a looter shooter like what we're getting with Avengers, it seems like. I don't want that at all. But remember back when Arkham Asylum was announced, were you sold on that idea? Like, oh, Rocksteady is going to take on Batman now. And how were your feelings then?
Well, I mean, honestly, when I read the Game Informer thing, that's where I learned about it, was Game Informer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was excited. I did not know who Rocksteady was, But they said like the animated voice is coming back, and Paul Dini is coming to write it, and the game director had a quote which I know you'll respect this quote, Scott, where he said, "I don't know why this sticks out to me. When they announced Arkham Asylum, they used a bomb. You had to defuse a bomb as a hostage in the demo, but there was no timer, and the director was like, "Oh, I hate timers. I don't want to put anything in this game that I hate, and I hate when I have to stare at a timer." And that to me said that they were caring about making the game more than they were caring about, publisher whims. Well, so I was excited, and I feel like I'll be excited. I want to see a trailer, gameplay,
Yeah, it was kind of a weird way to announce this, just like basically a movie poster. Even though it's not a movie, I get that, but it felt like a movie. Like a great movie poster.
Yeah, it's a good poster. I saved the poster on my phone. It's a great poster, but it's just if there were so many rumors around what Rocksteady was making, and this was always the least interesting rumor to me. So that's why it's disappointing.
I hope it's just a single player, like swap between characters and do something different that way. What if they brought the Nemesis system back?
And just make the Green Lantern respawns and he's ticked off at you?
Yeah, like you don't actually kill them, you take them out, and then they're now your Nemesis. We've been talking about how the Nemesis system has not been used since Shadow of Mordor, right?
Yeah.
Bring it back here. That would be cool.
I would love it.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet the first boss that you're going to take down is Aquaman?
I don't know. In the Jason Momoa era, he's too cool now.
Yeah, but it's not going to be Jason Momoa in the game.
I think it would be great if you take down the Flash by tripping him.
It'll probably be something like that. Like you're going to fight him, and then there's going to be a cut scene where he's like, "Oh, stumble, broke my leg in like 62 places."
That'd be great.
All right.
I don't know. Oh, you know what? There's plenty of opportunity for cool characters. You get a Black Man in this thing. That'd be pretty rad, but we'll see.
We will see. CB, what caught your eye from this list of stories this week?
Well, I mean, do you really need to ask?
No, I just kind of, I think even before I sent the format out this week, I put your name at the bottom of this.
Yeah, you did. I saw it. I want to talk about the Amico event. I actually sat down and watched it. I will admit, it wasn't the best event I've ever seen. They first off came out and said that they had to move the launch window due to COVID. It's now going to come out on 4/3/21.
Well, the Founders Edition is.
No. Founders Edition comes out a week before that. No.
Okay.
I think
it's launching on the 15th of April, 2021.
Yes, so Founders Editions will be out on 4/3/21.
Yep.
Looking at a lot of the gameplay trailers, I'm not surprised they don't look overly amazing, but they do look fun to play, which is what I'm interested in.
Right. And this is going to sound like I'm underselling the Amico, but you know why I need an Amico? To put in my classroom.
Yeah.
To me, this is even more accessible than the Switch to some degree.
Yeah, I will completely agree.
The thing that rubs me the wrong way is just how excited they are for some of these games. Like, all right, man, we can play spades.
Like, Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what that is, but the thing that's interesting, and I didn't get to watch the entire thing because I had to be on a conference call halfway through it. I had it visually on in the background, but I had to have it muted while I was on a conference call for work. So I didn't get to see the second half of it where they actually got to talk about the controller more, because I'm really interested in that controller. And correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand, each controller is like color coded and there's an actual LCD screen on it. So like you could play a card game with some people and like have what cards you have in your hand, which is new and innovative, but it's not a new game. It's like Monster Spades or something like that, where they just make it cute. I'm not that into spades or card games in general, so I'm not super amped for that. But this is something that I feel like I could throw in my classroom and hand a kid a controller, and no matter any skill level, even kids that don't play games could sit there and have a good time and pass a controller with one another. And that's what they're going for. Yeah,
I mean, that's their whole thing is they want to they want to bring back couch co-op.
Right.
That's plain and simple what they want to do. They want to make friendly couch co-op with inexpensive games. And so far they've ticked every box. I actually like the way the controllers look. You are right that every controller, depending on whether you're first, second, third, fourth player, like up to 8 players with some of these games, each one will have its own LED color code.
Mhm.
So like the dial wheel will turn red or yellow or blue, which I'm excited for. I mean, the fact that there's going to be a new MLB, like an actual licensed MLB game that's not the show.
And it's a pack-in. It comes with the Amico, they said.
Yeah. The cornhole game. Yeah.
They talked a lot about cornhole, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's a party game anybody can understand.
Yeah.
It's true. But at some point, I just go out and play cornhole. I mean, I guess you could say that about any sport, but...
True. A lot of the original Intellivision games are all coming back with rebooted or reimagined ideas. A lot of them look really fun to play. The Battle Tanks game and Breakout look really fun to play. Breakout
looked pretty fun. I think it was like there was some kind of rhythm-based thing going on with it too, or music.
With music and everything. They didn't show it in this one, but we know it's coming as there's going to be a new Echo, the Dolphin game.
Mm-hmm. Earthworm Jim.
They did show some of the Earthworm Jim game.
Oh, how'd it look? I didn't get to see that.
The animation, take the original animation, but clean it up and make it cell shaded, and it looks really good. I mean, we just saw like 15 seconds of it. I'm excited for that game because I love the Earthworm Jim series. The fact that somebody's finally bringing it back.
I remember liking it, but I don't remember why. I think as a kid, I just thought it was weird, and
yeah, it was. The Evel Knievel thing, I'm like, okay, cool. There's a lot of kids that don't know who Evel Knievel is. My biggest takeaway from this, though, is Tommy Tallarico. They probably should have chose somebody else to head this event.
I thought he seemed so passionate.
He's very passionate, but towards the end, like when you're showing your hardware breakdown, and he's like, I don't know what this does, and he drops it. Or
I didn't see the end.
There was a few things that he did that I'm like, Tommy, come on. Like, you probably should have chose somebody that could talk more about this. I will say the controllers are bigger than that I had imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they look fairly large.
Now, do they come with 4 controllers?
2. They come with 2.
It comes with 2. And any idea of the price point for more controllers? Because you can do up to 4 on a console, right?
You can do up to 8.
Oh, man, I'm going to buy 6 controllers if I get one.
You can do up to 8. My guess is they're probably going to be like $34.99.
Oh, man. That's
for control? No. I guess that's reasonable.
Aren't the games $10?
The games are $10. The system is going to be, I think,
$200.
Like $200. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that the controller is probably going to be about $35 to $40.
Zach, how are you feeling about the Amico?
You guys are the retro people, not me, right? Like, I think it's cool what they're trying to do. I love Tommy Tallarico to death. Hope he is on G4 next year.
Yes,
but and his enthusiasm for the Amico is infectious. But I mean, it's not something I'm going to pick up. So I defer to y'all.
Gotcha. I want this thing to succeed, but CB, I got to be honest, I'm real nervous.
Oh, I am too.
Not just about not because of COVID. I feel like this is about 5 or 6 years too late. I feel like the kids are hooked on the Switch already, and if not the Switch, YouTube. Or
see, to me, it feels like 5 years too early for whatever renaissance will be due to couch co-op.
I can see both sides of that argument.
Yeah, it's stuck in the middle right now.
I'm just really hoping that once this thing actually does get out in the wild, it will pick up a fan base and it will succeed because, as you guys know, I want all game companies to succeed, except EA.
Oh, of course. Oh,
hey,
wow.
Yeah,
I want EA to succeed.
No,
they have Respawn, so I need them to succeed.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I want Respawn to break away, and then EA can just plummet into a toilet.
Hey, be nice. Yeah. The Amico, I'm excited. But I feel like it's something I'm going to play for a month, and it's going to sit on my shelf, collect dust. Now, if I weren't a teacher, because I'm moving to second grade this year. I don't know if I told you guys that. My second graders will eat this up because anybody can pick up and play it. Especially, could you imagine? I'm going to have 10 kids in my classroom this year. If I have 8 controllers, there's only 2 kids that are sitting out for a round and then swap out. That's indoor recess. That's fantastic.
Hey. All right, then you get to just do not work.
No, recess.
Sure.
You're gonna be cleaning a lot of boogers, man.
Probably, I imagine.
Yeah. But again, for a family-friendly console, like the fact that you could put this in a second grade classroom and not worry about what kids are playing.
Right.
Because
they even said in the presentation that they are not competing with Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo. That's not what they're going for.
They couldn't, yeah. They stressed us to that at E3, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, they don't want anything with gratuitous violence. So
exactly.
I'm out. No nudity? I'm out.
You gotta go to Nintendo for that.
Yeah, gotta go to the Switch.
Somehow, Nintendo's where I have to go for that, yes.
I don't get that at all. All right. I feel like we got to talk about some other stuff, but the story that is grinding my gears this week is the Project xCloud.
What? But before you go any farther, can I just wholeheartedly say, I said this 6 months ago, man.
I'm so angry if this is true. So for those that are not familiar with Project xCloud, it is the game streaming service where you'll be able to play Xbox games on any device. I say any in quotes, whether it be a tablet, whether it be a phone, whether it be a PC or whatever, you can just stream it over there and play it wherever you like to your heart's content. However, it was announced this week that as of right now, Project xCloud will not be coming to iOS. And as an iOS user, that is extremely frustrating to me because I have been so looking forward to wipe that grin off your face, CV. I don't want to.
Why is it not coming to iOS, Scott?
Because it's all Apple. Microsoft wants it on iOS. Apple is saying that it, quote, violates App Store guidelines. And here's the quote from Apple. It says, the App Store was created to be a safe and trusted place for customers to discover and download apps and a great business opportunity for all developers. Before they go on our store, all apps are reviewed against the same set of guidelines that are intended to protect customers and provide a fair and level playing field to developers. Our customers enjoy great apps and games from millions of developers, and gaming services can absolutely launch on the App Store as long as they follow the same set of guidelines applicable to all developers, including submitting games individually for review and appearing in charts and search. In addition to the App Store, developers can choose to reach all iPhone and iPad users over the web through Safari and other browsers on the App Store. So basically, they can't, and I'm paraphrasing, they can't control it enough. They can't keep people from accessing things that they don't want them to access on an Apple device. So it's just, nope, not happening.
My biggest question is, what can you access through Project xCloud?
Well, we don't know. You would know better than I would because you've actually used it.
I do. And every app that you can use on Project xCloud, you can use on iOS and Android anyways. For me, this is plain and simple. Apple can't make any money off of it. Because Microsoft, they're one of their biggest competitors, is like, hey, pay us $15 through this, and you can play all these games for free. Mm-hmm. And Apple's like, where's our profit off this? Oh, wait, we can't make any. So we don't want you to use it.
It's really frustrating because this was a big selling point for me. I was going to buy one of those little hook you up things to a controller where you drop your phone in there and I can play anywhere in the house or anywhere, wherever. And just, I was really looking forward to that. That was a big, big selling point for me. And now that it can't happen, for the first time in however many years, for a split second, maybe more than a split second, I've considered going over to Android. But
still should.
I don't want this to be a iOS versus Android debate, because I really like my iPhone. I'm not one of those people that's going to say iPhone's better. I'm not going to say Android's better. I'm saying that I like Apple. It works for me. I fully admit that I'm built into their zeitgeist now, where it would be very difficult for me to leave. I have a MacBook. They talk to each other. I'm familiar with the apps. Anytime I pick up my wife's Android, I feel like I'm using technology for the first time, or I feel like my father whenever he looks at a smartphone. It's not comfortable for me. Just everything is just set up weird to me. Granted, it's probably be the same way if I picked up Zach's iPhone, right? Because you've got folders set up differently than I do. It's just it doesn't feel like my phone, right?
Right. Sure.
But it just drives me crazy that this is a thing. Do you think that this is going to be a thing, or is this going to be like in 6 months it's going to be corrected?
Oh no, I don't think this is going to be corrected at all.
I think it will be corrected.
Fight.
Because right off the bat, it's absolute bullshit, because you have PlayStation Remote Play and you can play any video game through it as a streaming service. So not only they're just kind of straight up lying that they're measured against the same guidelines.
So you can play Vita games on your phone, you said?
You can play any PS4 game on your phone.
Yeah.
Huh. Did not know that.
So they're just lying. It's not the same guidelines. This information is incorrect.
Is it because Apple has Apple Arcade and they're worried about this competing with Apple Arcade?
That my immediate thought was Remote Play. The app for Remote Play existed before Apple Arcade, and Apple Arcade now exists. So you can say no to the Microsoft one, but you already said yes to the Sony one.
That's part of the reason why I say this isn't going to get fixed, because now you'll have the Sony one, which is competing with Apple Arcade, the Xbox one that is competing with Apple Arcade. They're like, we don't want any more. We're making plenty of money by selling our cell phones and everything else. We don't need this.
I think it will be corrected. Apple, they can make a percentage off the subscription fee if they let you subscribe to the App Store. So I don't know why they think it hurts them.
But that's the problem, is Microsoft doesn't want you to subscribe through the App Store.
That might be the compromise, though. And if they appeal it, Microsoft or Xbox or whoever appeals it, it's not hard to bring up the fact that, hey, you have Remote Play right here. What's that about?
Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to call them out. Who's that Australian reporter that did that interview with the president last week? Get that guy to come talk to
an Axios or something like that.
Right? Yeah. Let's get him to do it.
For me, I'm not surprised by this. Like it is irritating, because I do want everyone to be able to play on the same playing field. I'll agree with that. And if people want to buy their iPhones, I'm okay with that too. I mean, if there's
you're kind of okay with it.
No, I'm completely okay with it, because there's the weird people that are like, I still want a BlackBerry. Those people I don't understand.
I miss flip phones.
Why?
They were so cool when you answered your phone call. Yeah, I mean, you flipped it right open.
Man, I used to wear my phone on a hip clip, and I see pictures of myself every once in a while on Facebook that pop up, and I'm like, what was I doing?
What were you doing?
It just seems so weird, because Microsoft came out and they're like, we're testing this. Like they tried to get this into the iOS store, and they got shut down by Apple.
Mm-hmm. It's just so frustrating, man. Like I've been so looking forward to this, and now that it's finally coming, I can't do it because I've chosen Apple. And I can't speak for everybody, but I saw multiple people when I posted this on Facebook and Twitter saying, I've been looking for an excuse to go back to Android for a while, and this is the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm going back.
Yeah. It's just very, like, I find it funny because I told you this 6 months ago when I'm like, dude, this
you just want to rub my face in it, man.
I do.
Yes.
I love this. Because you're like, there's no way Apple's going to get this too. And I'm like, no, you're wrong, man. You're so wrong.
Just makes me so angry. It's just this petty political stuff. And how can you
It's going to divide
make it
gamers
happen.
more, because now you're going to have all the Sony people go to
Yeah.
iPhone and all the Xbox people go to Android.
It's just getting so miserable out there for trying to get access to your content. Look at Peacock and CBS All Access and HBO Max now. Like, everything is so split up.
Yeah, remember when we complained about cable and how like we hated paying like the $100 a month for cable, and can we just get it piecemeal? And now we got it piecemeal, and we're like, oh, this sucks.
Well, piecemeal was nice when it was at Netflix and Hulu.
Right.
That was real nice.
You know, now
I mean-
HBO and Amazon and everything.
Hey, we all love our apps. You just click it on your phone. Technically, it's all still there.
Well, and you know what's even super frustrating? I can, because I stream to a Chromecast device for a lot of my movie and TV watching, and I've got all these iTunes movies. Guess what? I can't stream that to a Chromecast. I can only stream it to an Apple TV device,
That's infuriating.
which
Man,
is maddening to me.
just imagine if you got an Android phone, you could use your phone as a remote for the Chromecast.
Oh, I can do that on my iPhone. I have a Chromecast. I can do that, no problem. But it's infuriating to me that I can't cast. I can cast it from my laptop. So I can pull up my laptop and cast my screen to Chromecast, but I can't do it from my phone. Unless I just don't know how to do it. Somebody listening can correct me. Please correct me, because I would love to know how to do that. It's stupid that I can't watch the movies that I paid for. I'm not even paying for a subscription service. I actually bought the movies, and I can't cast it. I can only watch it on my smartphone or my Apple TV or from my laptop, which is, you know, how convenient that is to whip out a laptop and stream a movie. Anyway, that's not game related.
For those of you that are listening out there in audio land, the visible sadness and frustration on Scott's face
Oh,
is-
I'm
is quite there.
I'm angry.
He's gotten grumpier this year, I think. I think
Yeah,
COVID's getting to him.
It
it's all that gray hair that's showing through now.
People have been pointing out my gray hair like crazy in the past couple of months because I don't
That's
wear
all right.
hair gel in the summer because I don't have to go to work.
People
So
keep
whenever
pointing
we
out
get to-
the white hairs growing in my beard.
Yeah. But when I wear hair gel, it hides the gray hair. Before I got my hair cut, we were at a home run derby. I think I told you guys about the home run derby a couple weeks ago. And I hadn't cut my hair since before COVID started. And it was getting a little shaggy, and I was wearing a baseball cap, and it was sticking out on the side. And somebody at the derby said, "Hey, look, Scott's going for the Robin Yount look." That was pretty funny.
You know who else is growing their hair out?
Who's that?
Alan Wake.
Oh, go ahead.
Alan, you know, the state of play happened. That was great. But the most exciting thing was Alan Wake's face was there.
I didn't even see it. It must have been. It was real quick.
Well, they Control did the trailer for the new expansion pack, and the first expansion was really good. So, pretty hopeful for this. And it's opened with narration by Alan Wake, so it's already exciting. But then you see his handsome little mug at the end, so it's very exciting for me.
I'm nervous about DLC for Control because it's been a minute since I played that game. I don't remember how to play it.
It's not like jumping back into an RPG, though.
Perhaps, but I hope it has like a little bit of ramp back into it.
You know what the first expansion did?
Did it? Okay.
They actually had, you know what, now that you mention it, they had a straight up, it was like a linear corridor to run down while they refamiliarized you with
Oh,
things.
that's awesome.
Which is what the dream is for every DLC.
Yes. Why can't we
wish-
have that in every DLC? Can we just
Please.
have that in games in general? Like a
I
a
haven't played in-
tutorial?
I haven't played it 6 months. Can you make me good at this
Yeah.
again?
Like, just let me refamiliarize myself with the controls one more time. Like, give me like a hologram room where I can do some testing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be nice.
I gotta say, I was really impressed with the state of play. I really liked it.
Me too, man.
There is a lot of stuff. The Pedestrian is coming to PS4.
I
I-
hadn't heard of this game. Was that announced before?
It's on PC.
Okay.
I've heard people talking about it on podcasts all over, and I looked at the trailer before this, and it just looks so freaking clever.
Yeah, very charming.
Yeah, I want to play that one for sure. Hood, Outlaws and Legends looked interesting until I realized it was a multiplayer game.
Did you? That's the exact trajectory I had. I was like, this looks cool. Oh, this looks. What is going on here? And it's like, oh no, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Vader Immortal coming to PSVR.
Yeah, I'm so excited. That trailer. I mean, I was already excited because I haven't played it, like CB has or whatever. Have you played
Was
I
it-
that?
have to. Yeah, I beat all
Okay.
three. All
So
three
you
of
both
them.
suck. I have not played it, so I'm very excited. This is going to be my chance. I did not know you could have a crossguard lightsaber in the dojo. That's rad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very excited for Vader Immortal.
Tell you what, that dojo alone is worth the price of admission.
I bet.
The story is pretty good.
I would assume it's pretty short, like most VR games, right?
Oh yeah, each one is like 2 hours, and then like the last one's like an hour. I feel like they're real short.
Okay.
But it's a lot of fun to play with the dojo, especially on a Quest. I think it'll be difficult doing the dojo in a PSVR. But on the Quest, you are literally spinning around in 360 degrees, listening for the sound of the droids that shoot the lasers at you. So you hear it firing, you turn around and block the shot, and then, it's really cool.
Yeah, I just actually thought about that. That's got to... I hope they rework that some, because that's going to be miserable on a PSVR.
They'll probably just do like the 180 degrees like they do on Beat Saber.
I might have to get ready for this conversation from you both. When I play it, I'm like, oh, I love it. You're like, yeah, you'd love it more on a Quest, though.
Yeah.
Well, next time you're here, I'll be like, here, try it on my Quest.
Yeah, that would be great.
Can
I
you
wanted
guys
to do it R2V2, but no one would get off the freaking VR units.
It was popular for sure.
It's
Can you guys explain to me why everybody is going nuts for bug snacks?
No,
because it's cutesy.
it looks miserable.
But everybody is, I can't tell if they're doing it ironically or not, but Twitter is just going crazy for bug snacks. And I can't tell if it's genuine or if it's just to be funny.
I think
people
people
really
just
like
be funny.
I think they liked the song in the first trailer.
Oh, is that what it was?
It feels like. And Anno Mutationum looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
A little cyberpunk scheduler, but it has SCP monsters.
Is that the one with a really like vibrant art style? Is that the one, or is that AMS Die I'm thinking of?
I can't. Well, I think they both did, honestly.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 2D game, but you would occasionally walk through crowds in like Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
You fought a giant alligator creature, which is an SCP, which is an online horror website. So it's cool if they're pulling in monsters from that.
That is cool. I know it's a remake or whatever, but the Braid Anniversary Edition, I'd be down to play through Braid again.
Yeah, it's been long enough.
And I was shocked when they showed the comparison of what Braid looked like back when I played it originally versus what it's going to look like. I don't remember Braid being that pixelated.
True.
It was like, I was shocked. It looks like a completely redone game and graphically.
But I mean, when Braid came out, like 720p was as HD as it got.
Yeah. But that game is great. You know who would like that game? From our team, Christina would love Braid. So Christina, if you are listening, you need to play that game. That is your kind of brain teaser game.
It's got one of the top 5 plot twists in video games.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that.
Man, I want to go back and replay that now. That's such a good game.
Well, you can replay it soon. Don't do it now.
I know. I wonder if that's just going to be a PS4 thing or if that's going to also come to Xbox. I have to assume it would also come to Xbox.
That would be a betrayal for the ages.
Yeah, it would.
If Braid, which pretty much made the Xbox Live Arcade viable,
right,
betrayed it. Oh, that'd be crazy.
Saw a little more of Hitman 3 as well, including finding out that all 3 games will be playable on PSVR come January 21st.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That might get me to play Hitman.
And that game is so lengthy, I don't know why you would ever take the headset off.
Right. That sounds really good. You know what really caught my eye, I think, the most out of all of this, and I'm shocked, is Crash Bandicoot 4.
Wow. I mean, I was also surprised. I actually want to play Crash Bandicoot 4 because I do not care about Crash.
Me either. It looked fun, though.
It looks so good.
They had like the different modes where you could replay it in like a old movie time mode or whatever.
Yeah, that was cool, but even like the different characters, and it had like some more 3D-ish platforming. It just looked better than Crash has ever looked.
Seriously. I went into this not expecting to want to play Crash, and that is like climbing up the charts of PS5 or PS4 games I want to play.
When they opened the show with Crash 4, my eyes were rolling out of my head.
Yep.
But then by the end of it, I was like, okay, I guess I'm buying Crash Bandicoot, apparently? What world does this become?
It's kind of crazy.
What about you, CB? Are you stoked for Crash?
All
right.
Did you see the trailer?
No, I haven't yet. So
It'll flip your life upside down, man.
Seriously, give it a shot and go look at that new trailer, because the guy doing the voiceover or whatever, like explaining it, was really good. He totally sold me on Crash Bandicoot. I have a feeling you might get turned around on Crash after watching that trailer.
Watch that trailer, you'll get sold on Crash, and then watch the Godfall trailer and realize you'll never need to play that game.
Oh,
I'm shocked that you were so turned off on that game.
It was one of the most boring gameplay demos I remember seeing in a good while.
They spent way too much time on it.
First of all, yes, they did. Yes.
Yeah.
I get it's a PS5 game, but it was okay. So it's another looter shooter, except the guns are gone and it has mediocre looking melee combat instead.
Right.
Great.
Is this because I haven't seen it yet either. Is this Control's download DLC going to be PS4 exclusive for like a year as well?
I think so.
Was the last one?
I have yet to play the Control DLC because I believe it's PS4 exclusive for a year.
That's annoying.
I think you're going to see more and more of that coming out of Sony.
That's really pissing me off.
Well, I mean, nothing will ever be as egregious as Marvel's most popular character. But
yeah. Oh man, I wish you were here last week to talk about that. I was heated. I'm still pretty heated about that, by the way.
If anybody's curious about my thoughts, I'm very, very mad about it. It makes me so mad that I don't want to play Avengers.
Wow.
I think it's such a disgusting move.
Kind of with you. Well, guys, we were 40 minutes into news. We should, but I feel like we should mention very quickly. I mentioned Injustice 3 teased today by Boss Logic. If you remember, that guy, it was the guy who did the art for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, or he did the live stream of him doing the art.
I don't know why this got traction. He does these all the time. He did like a trailer for the Batman Ben Affleck HBO show as well. He just does fan posters all the time. But for some reason, websites are picking this one up. I don't understand.
Well, it said Injustice 3 on it, and it had the Watchmen smiley face.
Right, I'm just saying he does this all the time.
Yeah, but that's probably why it's getting traction, is the fact that it's a Watchmen Injustice crossover.
Right, I'm just saying. Like, I follow
saying it's
on
not
Twitter.
valid? It's not like a...
To me, it makes it think it is valid because these sites are picking it up, and I don't think they would pick it up unless they knew something.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no reason to do it, because he does it all the time where he makes posters for things he wished existed.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I don't know the guy. I had never heard of the guy before the Assassin's Creed thing.
Okay. He does this kind of thing all the time, and it makes me think that this is legit in some way because sites are picking it up.
Right.
Which they don't normally do for his stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Last thing I want to mention, we did get a look at the Xbox Series X controller. I don't know if you guys saw the picture, but it looks very, very similar to the Xbox One and Xbox One X controller, except it's got a share button. It does have the updated directional pad, which looks similar to the one on the Elite controller, where it's kind of more of an octagon instead of just the cross. And it's also got textured triggers. But the big kicker on the back of the box is that it actually indicated an Xbox Series S as well. Which, I know, CB is just full of I was rights this week. But the rumor is floating around that the Xbox Series S is basically going to be an Xbox One X, just with a fresh coat of paint on it.
The naming convention makes me want to think you shouldn't order this. You shouldn't buy this at a store.
Seriously,
can I get the Access? You can't take the risk.
Right.
Yeah.
Just buy it online. Make sure you see the actual appropriate letter and go for it. But
then, or even in the Amazon warehouse, like, hey, I need a Series X over here. Oh, here you go. No, it's a Series S. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand some of the naming conventions. Like, remember the Wii and the Wii U debacle?
Yeah, I worked when it launched, man.
It just like
at GameStop, I should specify.
I see the the future of a lot of disappointed kids around Christmas time.
Right.
When parents who I went and got it. No, you didn't.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks, Grandma.
Exactly.
Hope you're in the grave by the end of the year. Jeez.
Let's go ahead and move on. Just want to remind everybody that we do have a Patreon. If you'd like to help contribute to the show and offset some of our costs, you can go to patreon.com/thegocast. And the $3 and $5 levels will give you extra bonus content. CB, what can people check out and what's new on the horizon?
Our spoiler cast of Last of Us 2 and our Dirty Games episode with Christina. Where
a lot of people had good comments on that, by the way.
It was
really
a lot
like
of
that.
fun. I know we have a Ghost of Tsushima episode coming up with the ever beautiful Mr. Zach Parkerson. And apparently I have to defend my title for Going Gone against Jordan Derringer High.
That's happening tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
That'll be fun.
That'll be a good one.
It will be.
I mean, if I had to lose to somebody, I'd be okay. I mean, he's a smart guy.
He's a cool guy too. I don't know if I can't remember if you've met him in person.
Oh yeah, I've met him in person. He's been to my house.
Who officiates these tournaments?
Senior Cushing.
Okay.
Spency. If you
That
see
makes
him,
sense.
he does not go
looks
by
like Alice
Spencer.
Trebek, so.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the games that we've actually been playing. Zach, what's coming out this week?
Well, right off the bat, you have Dead on Arrival Hyperscape coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC August 11th. That's Ubisoft's free to play Battle Royale. Too late. Metamorphosis, which is a cool game that looks very inspired by Kafka's Metamorphosis book.
It is, and Rel played it. He's going to talk about it here in just a few minutes.
Oh, cool. Well, that comes to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC August 12th. Zero Strain is a twin-stick shooter where it has a cute anime girl on the cover, so that's important. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, August 12th. Darkestville Castle, which is a point-and-click game that looks like a very sardonic wit about it.
Mm-hmm.
Go to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, August 13th. The Alto Collection, which are snowboarding games that I play on my phone all the time, and they're very good. And if you want to play them at home, they're coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC August 13th.
Nice.
And then EA Sports continues to try to make UFC happen with UFC 4 on PS4 and Xbox One August 14th. I don't think there's a single game this week that's exciting to me. What about you?
Nothing major that I have to play, but Metamorphosis, after talking to Rel about that, which you'll hear me talk to him in a few minutes, it sounds really interesting. It's short.
Oh, yeah, you play as it's like a walking simulator, but you're an ant.
Or some kind of bug, like a guy's turned into a bug, and it's all about traversal. You'll hear it, but
okay.
Reminds me of the way I described it I'm not going to talk about what I did what I did in the interview, but it sounds really cool, actually.
All right, I'll hear soon. I'm telling you, the Alto games are good, but I don't know why you would play them not on mobile.
Gotcha. I don't know anything about them.
They're beautiful.
CB, anything stand out to you?
I was actually thinking about picking up the Alto collection because I was watching the trailer before we started recording. So
it's very striking visually.
Yes, I kind of want to just. It seems relaxing.
Yes, that's a perfect word for it.
Interesting. Well, Zach, I did not get a chance to play Fall Guys this weekend, but it is all the rage on social media. And I know you got a chance to play this, so tell me, is it as good as everybody's talking about?
Yes.
Yeah? In a word?
It's so fun. It's I don't want to, lean in the world right now. This is kind of the game that you would need.
Right.
It is just nothing but dumb fun. It leans into physics in a fun way. Like they're like seesaw platforms. And this, okay, I guess I should give you what the game is.
Mm-hmm.
60 people play at once, and you go through rounds of different events, right? Like it usually opens with a race, and it'll be and it's a random number every time. So it'll be the first 42 people across the finish line go to the next round. So you're racing against 60 other people, but you all can constantly bump into each other. So you're knocking each other over. You're trying to jump onto platforms, but you can grab other people too to kind of weigh them down.
Mm-hmm.
The platforms will be rotating, or maybe there'll be a swinging pendulum that can knock you off the ledge.
Reminds me of that TV show Wipeout. They just constant, an obstacle course.
I can see that. Yeah. And then, you qualify, you can go into other events, and there are a ton of them. There will be There are absurd ones like where you just get up this ramp while there's a bunch of bananas and cherries and apples falling on top of all of you. Or half the players have tails. Have a tail at the end of the timer if you want to win. So now you're playing like flag football almost, or keep away. And then you get to the end and it's like the platforms will, whenever you step on a platform, it'll vanish when you step off. So you're trying to race the platforms for other people so they fall, but you're trying to stay on top of yourself. And if you
fall off, you're out, right? Like it's not like you respawn; you're just out.
No, you respawn.
You do. Okay.
Not in the final match, but you'll just get put back on top of a platform. There are a couple game modes. I can only think of like 2 or 3 where if you fall, you're out. But even then, I mean, the challenge is just the absurdity of the physics. Like one of the races is giant seesaws that go, which way or whatever, but you really kind of need to work together to balance out the seesaw. But because of the selfishness of human nature, that rarely occurs.
Right.
So it's usually just almost vertical, and you'll just see people continually to try to jump on it, even though there's no way you could possibly land on it because it's at a 90-degree angle, but they're going to still try. It's just absurd. It's a lot of fun.
So does it like randomize each, like a different game? Like, the first 40 people that cross the finish line move on to the next one and then just randomly picks another one? Or do you actually choose?
It's random. So
that's awesome.
Even the qualifying race is random. They're like a half dozen different races that it can open with. I need to play this game. It just looks like stupid fun. Stupid fun is a perfect word for it. It has made me laugh on multiple occasions. You can there are a bunch of like cosmetics and stuff to unlock. It really does remind me of Rocket League because like this is such a fun game and fun concept, but you could have never sold me on it without it being free on PlayStation Plus.
Right. But now that you've played it, do you think you would have paid like $15 for it?
See, yeah, which is funny, right? Because I say that about Rocket League too. We're like, oh, I would have been happy to pay 20, but would I have really? Sight unseen?
I rebought it on Xbox.
Yeah, well, that's rebuying. I'm saying without Fall Guys having been free, would I have been willing to pay $20 just to try it? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I could tell you right now, I would, having played it. It is incredible fun. You should play it, man.
I can't wait to play it with you guys. I think that just sounds like a black. You can do squads of 4, I heard.
Okay, I've been playing solo.
Gotcha. That would be fun, just because I imagine that they go pretty quick. So, like, if you are out, it's not like a ton of time for you to spectate and wait for your squad to finish up. Or no. How long does it take?
Yeah, and you can. I mean, you can, if you lose in the first round, you can just quit out to the menu. You don't have to like watch all the rounds.
Well, but I mean, if you're in a squad and you're out, but someone in your squad makes it.
I don't think I've ever seen a timer for a match more than 2 minutes.
For like the entire 60 people?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, for one round, not the whole like game.
Right. But like how far did you get? How high did you make it?
I've been to the final round like 4 or 5 times.
And how many people are in the final round?
It depends how many people get through the qualifiers. Like I've had a final round where it was like 4 people. I've had one where it was 18.
Oh wow, okay.
So it just depends on, because the qualifiers, like, yeah, only 42 people make it, but there are other ones where it's stay on this rolling log while it's spinning and you dodge obstacles along the way. So if everyone gets to the end, then everyone gets to the end.
So how many rounds?
5.
5 rounds. If you said that already, I apologize.
So every full match, if you get to the end, isn't going to take you more than 15 minutes.
Perfect.
It's so perfect.
And it sounds like it would be fun to watch too. Like even if you're out, just stick around and watch your, as long as someone in your squad is still in, you still get the W, right? If one person from your squad wins.
Again, I don't know how it works with squads.
I need to play this. We need to make that happen. I want to. Now you have to have PlayStation Plus since it's online, right? But it's free on PlayStation Plus. So
exactly, yeah. There's no reason not to download it if you have PlayStation Plus.
I'm gonna have to get PlayStation Plus or get a free trial or something because I have to play this game.
Yeah, you do.
Again, that is Fall Guys. Zach, thanks for sharing with that because I wanted to make sure I understood it completely. It just reminds me of playing games as a kid where you just sit and laugh and build and just make memories.
Yeah, I This sounds like such a journalist thing to say, but it really does make you feel like a kid again.
That's what I like to hear.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, now that Scott's finished with that, let's nerd out for a little bit. Tell me about Marvel Avengers there, buddy.
First of all, have either of you played this?
No,
yet.
I did not get into the beta.
I'm scared too.
Okay. It is fine. It's fine.
Just fine.
You want to say it? I can see it so bad. You want to say it?
Say what?
Your favorite term?
No, it's a little bit above that.
Okay.
It is. I like the story, the characters, the interactions, the actors are all very good. And I think if you're worried about that weird like B-movie actor effect that so many people were worried about when it was announced,
Mm-hmm.
you get over that pretty quick once you're controlling them. Thor looks a little goofy and does sound a little over the top. But otherwise, everybody's pretty perfect. Laura Bailey as Black Widow is more interesting than Scarlett Johansson has ever been.
Well, that was going to be my question. Now that you've actually got hands on and saw it, outside of the demo that we saw in Los Angeles, is it that we're so familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they feel off, or do they really feel off?
No, I mean they feel closer to the comics than the movies
Sweet.
do. Yeah. So far, I mean, you're like Thor's pretty routinely killing dudes. That's kind of cool. But I don't understand what people's hang up is with the fact that they look and sound different than the movies, because
No, I don't mind that they look and sound different. I just felt like what I saw, it didn't look polished. It felt off. Like I felt like the hair physics and everything just felt a little last gen to me.
well, it's funny. It's funny you talk about the performance, because this game runs like ass on PS4 Pro.
Really?
I'm talking. Yeah, I have a PS4 Pro, man, and it was lagging regularly.
Oh no.
I would.
Didn't they just come out and say though that the beta is definitely not going to be anywhere close to the final product?
Well, I would hope that they would say that. That's the job of the beta, right?
Yeah.
But I can only speak to what I have played, and what I played was a game that routinely dipped well below 30. Like it would. I mean, I can't think of a single fight I got through where it didn't stutter almost to a complete stop on the frame rate.
Holy
Whoa.
cow. Do we have another Anthem on our hands?
I don't want to jump to that quite yet. I will say, like, the story when you're like hanging out with the Hulk as Miss Marvel, like that's cool. That was really cool. But man, it's I don't know.
You're not
It's-
selling me here, man.
Oh, it's everything. Well, it's kind of weird because I still want to play it because I want to see an Avengers video game through. But man, it's hard to want to sell you on it. It is very much the hit these dudes until your abilities cool down resets, and then press that button to do your ultimate or whatever, and then get back to smashing square.
Yeah.
So it's Destiny.
It is very Destiny.
And you say that in a good way or a bad way?
Well, as somebody who loved Halo and couldn't stand Destiny, I guess you can see where I might be leaning on this. You know what? Black Widow is pretty fun to play as, comparatively, just because she's so restricted, like, because she's so the closest, I guess, to Batman or Spider-Man in terms of power.
Yeah, she can't fly or anything like that.
Because when you're playing as Thor or Hulk, it's absurd. It's hard to buy into the power fantasy when you're swinging Mjolnir into a dude, like a regular dude, and it takes 6 hits.
Right.
It just feels silly. Which
Like,
I
why not
know
just
is
go full force.
Which I know is like the trade-off you have to make. I guess when you're doing like a video game, like if you made a superhero, like a Superman video game, you would have to buff them, but they're not. There's no like story reason for it. It's just, oh, I guess Mjolnir doesn't hit that hard,
Right.
so it just feels weightless.
Well,
When you read a comic and Thor throws Mjolnir around a sun and rips an alien's chest in half, who is supposed to be invulnerable, and you're like, that's awesome. And then you go and you play the video game, and Joe Schmo on the street with a machine gun just took away 1/3 of your health and just took a dozen hits to take down. It feels a little silly.
is it the same with the Hulk. You're like, oh yeah, I gotta punch this guy 6 times.
Hulk is the worst character.
I'm out.
He feels utterly powerless. Even if you remember the jumping sections we've seen, because the game opens with that A-Day demo that they've shown off freaking ad nauseum since announcement. It like those jumping segments, first of all, just feel bad as Hulk. Like, it looks like you should be running along the walls and stuff. You don't. You just stop and press A, and he just automatically jumps. So that's pretty disappointing. And then he's really, in the QTEs, he's really cool when you're flipping over tanks and stuff, but you can't do any of that when you're actually playing as Hulk.
Right.
I'm becoming less and less interested in this game by the minute. Yeah. I mean, it'd be so easy to like power adjust for Thor or Hulk. Like, oh, instead of taking 6 hits to hit a guy, throw 6 guys at me.
Right, or especially like in the campaign. Just let them be that tough. And then in multiplayer, make them on par with Black Widow and Hawkeye, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or something. Yeah. But it doesn't... it feels... Every time you play as one of the characters, I can't help but feel like, oh, they should have made like a Thor game. Do you know? Because like it feels like we have a third-person melee format, and now we're fitting all the characters to it, and it doesn't fit for every character.
So it doesn't feel balanced.
It just it doesn't make you feel. I mean, to use another lame journalistic phrase, it doesn't make you feel like Hulk or Thor.
So what you're telling me is I'm gonna hate this game.
Sounds like it.
The worst part is I feel like I'm still probably gonna play it.
Yeah,
you know, but none of me wants to. It's such a weird contrast. So what if I have to pay $60 for it? I would not do that, even right now. No, I would not. After playing this, and then with the Spider-Man news, like I don't want anything to do with this.
Like I'm being so disappointed by comic book video games right now, like Suicide Squad, the Spider-Man thing. Like, I'm becoming like, it's getting to that point in like the 90s where I'm like, I don't want more video games on comic books.
It's really making me think that, because you know what, it just feels like a Diablo with a different camera angle.
I mean, I love me some Diablo, but
you love Diablo. Do you love Diablo for the gameplay, or do you love it because you can like chat with people and play it easily?
A little bit of both. I mean, the gameplay is not super complex. I also love the loot. It's so much fun when you get a legendary or
plenty of loot here. So if you're into loot, but you know what, the loot doesn't change you cosmetically.
Really? So you just looked at exactly the same all the time? That sucks.
You pick your suits or whatever, but when you find a new gauntlet, it doesn't change your look, just your stats.
That sucks.
So to me, I don't care at all, because I only care about the cosmetic differences. Even in like Destiny or whatever, when I would play it, or Warframe, I never equip for stats. I always equip for looks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't care what the stats are, because the stats are always 1.2%. So I'm like, what is that really going to do? I may as well just look the way I want.
Well, it's not just that one. It's all the others combined with it. That
even when you get the full set, it's like, okay, well, you get a plus 5% based on anything, and then a 2% bonus, and that's 7%. I don't care. I'll click one extra time. It's not a big deal.
I love stats.
You just want a pink Hulk.
Yeah, that's cool. So I hope. I mean, it's too close to release for them to make any fundamental differences. But it really does. It already makes you think, boy, I hope they fix this like they eventually did with The Division and Destiny.
So this will be a great game in about 8 or 9 months.
I wonder. Yeah.
To me, you're making this sound more and more like Dead in the Water. So
it'll sell millions. I mean, come on, it's got the brand recognition, and every survey I've seen online of what game are you most anticipated for, it's like in the top 3. So I think that game's going to do well no matter what. But
okay,
like I just admitted, I will. I'm sure I'll buy it at some point, and I'll hate myself the whole time.
All right. Well, that was Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah,
the beta.
So
not the actual
the beta, not the actual game.
Right, just the beta. But I mean, it's it's a month from launch or whatever. It's probably a pretty good idea that the game will play like that. Ooh. Anyway, Scott,
Yes, sir.
Please tell me you enjoyed Double Kick Heroes more than I enjoyed Avengers.
I did. I've finished it once on easy.
Oh, okay.
Because, I actually did it in one sitting. This is a rhythm game for people that like metal. And when I say metal, I'm talking like death metal, like grunting and screaming. But this game is super silly, but I had a good time with it. Did you get to watch the trailer?
They really play up the metal part.
They sure do. And the game just keeps going that way as well. How do I explain this game? It is a rhythm game in that you've got, I'll say notes, but they're basically dots that move from right to left at the bottom of your screen on like what looks like a musical staff. And you have to press a button, when it hits the meter in time. Sounds pretty simple to start out with, but what's going on the top half of the screen is your band is in a car that I believe they call there's like a super cheesy name for it. It's like instead of a Cadillac, it's like a Metalac or something like that.
That's awesome.
And
that feels very Brutal Legend to me.
Well, funny you say that because Tenacious D and Jack Black are heavily involved in this. I saw their names in the credits multiple times. Yeah,
that's cool.
So the story, if you want to even call it a story, is it's an apocalypse. And when I say apocalypse, not just like a zombie apocalypse, not just like the end of the world, like every possible apocalypse you can think of. At one point, I'm fighting shark men, and the final level takes place in hell, and you're fighting demons. But when I say fighting, all of your band members are on this back of this car, and they're firing projectiles at this onslaught of whatever types of enemies it is. And in order to fire a weapon, you have to complete a beat on this meter at the bottom. You're basically playing as the drummer in the band. So every musical note that you're doing is either the kick drum or the snare or the cymbal. Now, I played on easy. I finished it on easy, and that's really simple because it's just one line. It just does this one line. The trick is that up on the top of the screen, your A button shoots at the bottom half of the screen. Your B button, I played on Xbox, the B button shoots at the top of the screen. So the idea is that the best way to do it is to alternate every other beat. If you think of like a double bass pedal on a bass drum.
That doesn't clear it up for me, but I'm sure it will for some people.
A double bass pedal is basically you have 2 foot pedals instead of one for the kick drum. So instead of just kicking your right foot, you actually have both, and you're kicking.
Oh, you actually make music with that thing? I thought it was just something that was fun to kick when you sat at a drum set.
No, that's like the one beat.
Oh,
anyway.
Okay.
So I made the mistake of trying to play this game the way I normally play a game by like holding a controller in my hand like you play any other game. But because you have to go back and forth with the A and the B button for, if you imagine like 2 pedals going really, really fast, I wound up playing the game by putting my hand on the top of the right hand of the controller and pressing the A and B buttons with my pointer finger and my middle finger to alternate back and forth. If you play this game, you have to play that game. I'm talking like double 16th notes, speed, on easy, by the way.
Yeah.
It is.
No, thank you.
Brutally difficult, but it feels satisfying when you get that timing down.
Brutally difficult, and then you beat it, and you feel like a legend.
Well, I see what you did there.
Wow.
So, what's funny is when I started playing I didn't play it on easy. At the beginning, I did it at the second level of difficulty, and it started out just fine. It works like Guitar Hero, where like the first few songs are not a problem. But what they do is they start adding in the right bumper button for a snare drum. So I'm using the kick drum on my fingers, but now the right bumper is a snare button that may fall on line with another beat, or it may be a separate beat, and that complicates the hell out of this game. Let me tell you, it gets so crazy. It's good. I don't know. I really like this game, but if you don't like metal, you're not gonna. This is actually almost too metal for me. Like I like melodic metal. This is a lot of
It's like death metal. Is that the distinction?
Oh, death metal, yes. It's hardcore death metal. Some of the songs are really good. A lot of them are original. I like it, but it's almost too much for me. But the gameplay is fun enough. This is a game that I feel like if you are a drummer in a metal band, you need to play this game. This is a game for you because the timing is very, very precise, but you'll be rolling it with your fingers instead of rolling it with, drumsticks. I almost wish that there was like a drum peripheral or like shut up. I'm seriously like, I want to play this where I can beat something with my hands and do the beats instead of doing the buttons on the controller.
I'm sorry, I just like imagined you with like the donkey bongos.
Donkey Konga.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting in my basement playing my bongos.
But to metal
like
music.
Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. No, but like I need something more tactile to do it, to feel like I'm really doing it. I think that would be awesome. But I don't know how to make that happen. The story is completely throwaway for me. I found myself frustrated because I just wanted to go to the next song. By the second world, because this goes like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, and then a boss. By the time I got to the second world, I was literally skipping all of the dialogue. I just did not care. It's all like, you come across like this master metal musician that's holed up during this apocalypse, and he sends you on quests, which is just another song, and I just stopped caring. I just wanted to hear what the next song was and see if I could handle it. Yeah. That is Double Kick Heroes. I am really enjoying it, but I didn't at first. It took a minute for me to figure out what the game was going for. Let me say one more thing. I'm sorry. The frustration with the game is that you've got two different game areas going on. You've got the notes that you want to hit, but then you've got the top of the screen where you're fighting off the whatever zombies or aliens or whatever it is. And you have to constantly be playing back and forth. Do I shoot the top? Do I shoot the bottom? Do I shoot the top? Do I shoot the bottom? But your eye wants to just stay on the music. So imagine playing Guitar Hero, but you have to take your eyes off of the jewels in order to be able to know where you're going next. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't sound fun.
Well, they give you an indicator. So on the note section, they'll actually like highlight the top of the bar red if you need to start hitting notes at the top, and they'll highlight the bottom red if you have to hit the bottom. So as long as you just alternate all the time, you're fine. But sometimes some of the beats require I don't know. It takes a run through almost to really finally wrap your head around how it works. And I'm not even playing it on difficult. I can't imagine how people are playing this game and beating it on. I haven't even tried the third level of difficulty, much less the fourth and fifth level of difficulty that is in this game.
Wow.
That's super finger dexterity.
Yeah, they actually say in the description, like, this is only for musicians.
It's only for people who know how to work their fingers super fast.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't know if I'll ever get that good, but I kind of want to go through and try to beat it on a second level of difficulty now that I get it, but man, I hit a wall quick and dropped it down to easy, and I feel like I would get very frustrated.
Damn. All right. That is Double Kick Heroes on Xbox One.
Yeah, if you like metal and you like rhythm games, it's a must play. All right, I mentioned it earlier. I sat down to talk to Rel about Metamorphosis. I think you guys are really going to be intrigued by this game. It sounds really cool. So go ahead and play that review for you right now.
Well, hello again, Rel. I feel like we've been meeting every other week, at least it seems now.
Well, yeah, the summer slump is over, which means there is a new glut of games for the fall.
Absolutely. And hey, bring it on. There's so many games to play right now, and it's I'm looking forward to this fall for sure. But you're here to talk to us about a game you've been playing called Metamorphosis. This one comes from Ovid Works and was provided to us by Evolve PR. This trailer had me intrigued, but I don't understand how the gameplay works. Am I correct in understanding you are a human transformed into a bug?
Yeah, have you ever read Kafka's Metamorphosis?
I have not.
The entire game is basically lifted from the book. The plot of the book was a man named Gregor Samsa wakes up one day to find that he has been transformed into a hideous, verminous bug. And this game is exactly that. You are Gregor Samsa, you've been transformed into a bug. It doesn't follow the plot of the original book for all you bibliophiles out there, but it does send you on a quest to find the tower, and the tower will supposedly be able to return you to human form.
Oh, okay. So how does the gameplay work? Is it because from the trailer I didn't see a lot of gameplay. It just felt like a lot of cinematic, for lack of a better term.
It is like, it's like an exploration / platforming / kind of parkour type of thing, and it's not like I wouldn't call it parkour in terms of like Mirror's Edge. It's not to that degree, but it's also the kind of game where there's no explicit set path that you necessarily need to follow. You're often tasked with, for example, get a document from the top of the drawer or from a higher shelf on a bookshelf, and they don't tell you how to get there. They just show you a big overview of the world. There's no path. You just try and make your way up there as a bug. And when you are a
kind of
bug,
interesting, actually.
Yeah, and when you are a bug of less than an inch in height, I mean, I think you're basically an ant. Even though in the original book you were a cockroach, or Gregor was, whatever. You have to think about the world in different ways because, like, pencils become bridges. Books are massive obstacles. Tiny things can help you along, and you can walk in sticky stuff and crawl up walls.
Well, that was going to be my question, because I see all the ants outside my house that can crawl up any surface, but I assume you can't just crawl up any surface without the sticky stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, so there are parts in the game where you can walk in sticky stuff, and it will give you a limited wall crawling ability. You can't go directly upside down, I guess because you're too heavy. And you only have a limited amount of wall crawling time. So it's not like Spider-Man where you just have infinite wall crawls. No, you gotta figure out where you're going and make it up there without turning upside down.
So it's purely traversal. There's not like any combat or anything like that?
No combat. There's some pretty basic puzzling. It's mostly just like the real big puzzle in the game is just figuring out where to go. Because I can think of a couple of instances in the game where I had to really look at the environment and think, okay, how can I get up to where they need me to be? Because it doesn't look like there's a path. Oh, wait, I can maybe jump across this gap and then ride up this thing. And, oh, I made it. But otherwise, puzzles are just, run along a kind of spindly thing and cause it to turn another thing, or find the right document that you need, because part of going to the tower involves official certificates and general annoying bureaucracy, and it definitely pokes fun at kind of turn of the century type European bureaucrats and secret police and the inanities of government.
The gameplay reminds me of like an expanded version of like the tower sequences in Far Cry. Did you ever play the Far Cry games?
I did not.
Okay, so that's every time you got a tower that would basically open up the map, like the fog of war would be removed.
Oh, like Assassin's Creed.
Right, so yeah, any Ubisoft game, really. Yeah. And I mean, it was very simplistic. It was just about finding the right place to get to the ledge, and if you get over to this side, it makes this, But it sounds like that increased with bigger puzzles, because those are basically the same thing, just rearranged.
Yes, and not as easy. Like with Assassin's Creed, I'm going to use Assassin's Creed as my reference point. It wasn't that hard to scale those towers. And, you can always be relatively assured that, it was a small area. You could be relatively assured that you could make this particular jump because they wouldn't let you just jump off into oblivion because, let's face it, Ubisoft kind of holds your hand in that regard.
Sure.
But with this game, it's these massive, expansive environments, and it can be really difficult to find your way simply because your perspective is so tiny compared to everything else.
Right. All right. So do you recommend people check out Metamorphosis?
It's an interesting game. I think, let's see, let me just check the price point. I believe it was $25 American. So it was only a few hours long. So it's definitely it's a platformer with a story, and it's an interesting world. It's a very unique experience. I had fun with it, You would have to decide for yourself if you want that kind of like story-focused platformer for $25. If it's something that, you want some more gameplay for the price point, you might want to wait until it goes on sale. But this is definitely a very well-made game. You're not just exploring real-world environments. You also, like, you go into a drawer, for example, and there's more to the drawer. There's the bug world inside the drawer.
Right.
And it gets very surreal and bizarre. And it's an interesting journey for sure.
I think it sounds cool. You played it on PC, but I know it's also available on Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and you've got a video review coming up here. When and where can people check that out?
So assuming I burn the midnight oil, that should be going up on Wednesday, whenever time the embargo releases, which was 9 a.m. So 9 a.m. Wednesday, August 12th, on my channel, youtube.com/relplays. That's RELLE plays. I spell it out every time because, we're audio.
Sounds good, man. Thanks so much for checking that out. I genuinely want to play this. It sounds really cool.
It is certainly an interesting experience.
Very cool. Well, thanks for coming, man. We'll catch you next time, all right?
All right. Thanks for having me. Later.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Rel, for doing that. I appreciate it. See, anybody else play anything else that they're catching up on?
Still trying to get into Grounded, man.
Still trying to get into it? Not enjoying it?
It's not that I'm not enjoying it. It hasn't gotten its hooks in me yet. It's just wander around, pick up things, go complete this task. I want to like it. I love survival games. So far, it just really hasn't got its hooks in me yet.
See, I'm not a big fan of survival games, and people are telling me that this is the one that's accessible, and I should give it a try. Let's play it this week. Let's play it co-op.
Deal. I'm down.
All right. I want to remind everybody we have a Facebook group that we'd love you to join. It is facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. And we've got a couple new members to say hello to, Mirai Benago and Alex Nicenwander. If you remember, Alex was at R2V2. I thought he was in the group already. He came and helped volunteer with parking, and I think he won the PlayStation Classic drawing, I think, if you remember at the end of the night. Anyway.
I'm trying to remember.
Also, we have a Discord I mentioned. The link is in the show notes. We've got a new member over there by the name of World Reaper. Actually, that was last week's. But hey, welcome again, World Reaper. No new iTunes reviews. If you'd like to drop us a review, we really do appreciate it. And actually, it's Apple Podcast, not iTunes reviews, but that helps us get the word out there. Also, be sure to check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com, for all of our reviews, episodes, and everything. It is thegamingoutsider.com. Let's go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. So Nate, our producer, had a really great idea for a topic this week, and I'm surprised we haven't discussed it yet. We want to talk about vehicles in video games. And wow, was this a popular topic, at least on Facebook. A lot of people had a lot of things to say here. So we're going to be talking about ours and our listeners' favorites or most despised modes of transportation in games. So before we get to our favorites and least favorites, do you guys like it when games offer to let you get into a vehicle, or would you rather it just stuck to its core gameplay?
I love it. I don't care. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, was a Halo really changed the game on this.
Mm-hmm.
And you pretty much point to that as a progenitor of all of this, but that really elevated the shooter for me, because I really wasn't, that Halo was kind of my entry point to FPSs in terms of caring about them, and for many years afterwards, I would kind of lament when a shooter didn't have a vehicle in it.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like the Warthog was the most talked about vehicle, at least on Facebook.
I didn't even pick a comment with it because it's just, to me, it's the default best video game vehicle.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard, impossible even to beat the Warthog, especially in the first game when it was invincible. So you could try to squeeze it into areas and levels where it doesn't belong.
Right.
That's when you would get it set in a doorway and then use grenades to blast it through the doorway, and all of a sudden, now you've got it in a corridor. What it was supposed to be a corridor shooter level, you're not just driving the Warthog through enemies. That's super fun. So dumb. Love it.
Here's the thing with the Warthog, though. Back when that game first came out, I initially hated it the first time I got into it, because that was the first game I played where I was not driving the Warthog with the right trigger. Like I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. I'm like that. That's how I've driven a car in every video game since the PlayStation 1 era, and now I'm controlling it with the stick. Like now it's standard, right? You play any game with it. That's how you drive a vehicle, is with the sticks. But I hated it at first.
It was to me. It was just so intuitive.
After you got used to it, yes.
To me, it was always smart. Or even the Ghost is a lot of fun to pilot around with the boost and everything. So I think Halo is. I like it, and even I don't know what really defines vehicle. I assume we're talking about like it has to be used in gameplay, right? Like the Normandy wouldn't count here.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not really any rules. Go for it.
Oh, believe me, I'm going to go off the rails with some of mine. So
Okay, well, I guess I'll touch on that in a minute, but yeah, I think it always offers a nice variety of pace, and it's particularly nice in video games when it's the same vehicle you return to, like in Mad Max with the Magnum Opus, or even Epona in Zelda.
Man. I want to go back and replay Ocarina. It's been too long.
Well, it's for me, like it just breaks up the monotony of the gameplay. Like it's just every now and then, like you need to take a break from just being a shooter. And it's like, oh, I'm just gonna drive my car around or ride a horse or do something weird. So
I feel like a part of it too is when games started becoming open world. It would have taken too long to walk from A to B. You needed a fast way to do it, and fast travel just wasn't cool anymore.
Fast travel was never cool.
I love fast travel. Don't get me wrong, especially when you're at the subway and share your cell phone with somebody.
That will be a thing of the past. The next gen, I hear.
Yeah.
There you go. Best vehicle is web shooters. Done.
See, that's for like people that were asking questions. I think Sky Calgaro in Facebook asked if dragons count. I'm like, I mean,
but you're writing them. I would give dragons it before web shooters. Web shooters are an ability.
I was being facetious.
I know you were.
So we're counting beasts as a vehicle? Because
yes.
In terms of video games, yeah, because they serve the same function.
Right. Yeah. I don't disagree. We didn't really set ground rules. I just for sake of conversation. CB, what about you? Do you like it?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for me it breaks up the monotony. Every now and then, just like hopping in a vehicle, driving around, just doing things. It's a great way to get from A to B instead of just staring at a loading screen.
Oh, yeah. I think we'd all rather do that than stare at a loading screen.
And I feel like vehicles lend themselves to absurdity in a way that On Foot doesn't, right? Like it's fun. It's super fun to parkour around an Infamous or Assassin's Creed. Well, there's something about you getting a Ferrari in Grand Theft Auto and all of a sudden you're like, let's see if I can drive this up a mountain.
Yeah.
Like
or a ramp or whatever.
Just something absurd like that. And then you come tumbling down and it just lends itself to more experimentation, I guess.
Playground.
Like Crackdown was great with that.
Oh yeah. Was there a way to get a vehicle on top of the building?
I would put past it, right? Because your vehicle's transformed in that game.
Man, that game. I wish that game still held up.
You know what? It did for me because I went to play Crackdown 3 and I was like, I'll just play Crackdown.
Yeah.
And it was so great.
So let's dive into it. What are some of your favorites? CB, let's start with you.
Ooh, man, it's a list.
I know, right?
I was originally, when I first saw this topic, I kept writing vehicles down that I loved. And I had about 26.
Oh my God.
I narrowed it to 5.
Do you think it's because in a video game, you're more attached to a vehicle than you would be in a movie or a book or anything because it's yours and you keep returning to it. You almost form a bond with these vehicles. When you get a Warthog, you're like, I'm coming home.
Yes, I can agree with that. I mean, outside of like the Magnum Opus, which is by far one of my favorites, it's a 1973 Ford Falcon. In case anybody's curious,
for those wondering,
did you play the new game, by the way, the new Mad Max?
Oh, I beat it. I actually started a second playthrough. I love that game. I think it's great. But for me, the buggy from Half-Life 2.
Okay, yeah.
I loved that stupid vehicle because it had the same thing as the Warthog rules. Like, that thing was indestructible and it had guns mounted on it. It was a lot of fun to play with. Plus physics games. I'm sure I'm going to steal a little bit of thunder from somebody here, but the Batmobile from Arkham Knight.
Oh,
I was on my list. I don't screw the haters. I loved the Batmobile sections in Arkham Knight. I wanted an entire game with a vehicle that controls like the Batmobile.
Yeah.
You know what game that reminded me of? The way that played? Do you remember Cyber Sled in the arcade?
Yeah.
Where you could play, it was like two people against each other, but it was like tank controls. You had a joystick on either side. You know, 2 sticks forward was forward, 2 sticks back was back, and then spin around. You would do opposite, or you could strafe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great arcade game. It looks horrible now, but that's what that game reminded me of, and I wanted an entire game that controlled like that. Because how cool was it to strafe a freaking vehicle? That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I had fun with that vehicle, so it was a blast. Any game that has an F-14 Tomcat, it's my favorite plane of all time.
okay.
I prefer the FA-18, but
You shut your mouth. Get out of here.
You're both wrong. The right answer is the R-Wing.
it was on my list too.
Oh, sorry.
Stop stealing my answers.
Sorry. Look, the R-Wing is number 2 to the Warthog in terms of video game vehicles.
It's just so freaking cool looking.
Maybe.
It looks awesome, man. It's worth buying Starlink on Switch just so you can have that figure.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I have a bunch of them. I don't know if Zach thought of this one, but the 4 horses from Undead Nightmare.
Oh, that's good. I have one similar.
Because the Nightmare horse was amazing.
It was cool, and you had to like track them all down.
Yeah, but the fact that the actual like Nightmare horse like had the flaming footprints, like when you were just running,
it would actually leave them behind.
I loved that. But then one of my favorite vehicles of all time from any video games is the rocket ship from Kerbal Space Program.
Okay.
Is that just one vehicle? Isn't that like whatever you build?
You make it however you want, and it's just so much dumb fun because it's your vehicle. You made it, and you get to watch it blow up.
All right. I was not expecting Kerbal Space Program.
You shut up. That game was great.
Zach, do you have 26 on your list as well?
Yeah, well, at the top, we'll just say anytime you get a spaceship in a game, it delights me greatly. You know, the Normandy, the Ebon Hawk and KOTOR, the Mantis and Fallen Order. Like, anytime you get a spaceship to come back to and explore and walk around, that delights me greatly.
Okay.
I just want to preface it. I want to say that. But then, in terms of vehicles, Warthog obviously is number 1. I think didn't get around that. R-Wing, like I said. Ruin from Darksiders.
Ruin
is the name of War's horse in the first Darksiders.
Oh, okay.
So Horse of the Apocalypse was a little adjacent to CB's choice there. Then, here we got the Magnum Opus. That was the best part of Mad Max, the game, was building that up. Which is, you know what? Hey, I got a comment just to that point from Liam Cax, and it says a Sildren in parentheses, so I don't know. Whatever you prefer out there. I've been playing Mad Max recently, so definitely the Magnum Opus. It's fun to drive around the wasteland and blow stuff up. It really was the best part of the game.
It was cool.
They gave you an awesome driving force. And then the Deuce from Brutal Legend.
Oh my god.
I don't remember what that was. I didn't play much of Brutal Legend, so I don't remember.
Oh, really? That's the only reason it's on my mind this week. Is that vehicle? I think it was a modified hearse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it powered by like demons or something?
Yeah, I think it was powered by like demon blood. It's got like huge exhaust pipes and stuff. It was just wicked. It is awesome. It's very metal, you could say, Scott.
So it was fitting. I liked that game until it became a strategy game.
Yeah, that was a weird turn, but up until then, man, it was immaculate. And the story is tremendous. But again, that vehicle is where it's at.
Nice. Any others?
I'm sure there's some that I'm forgetting for sure.
And anytime there's an X-Wing ever.
Well, yeah, that almost felt like cheating.
Yeah, those are default. That's just like a given.
Like that to me, like I can't count that as a video game vehicle. That's that's around since 77.
Okay, all right. Let me change it up here then. X-wing, A-wing, or Y-wing?
I mean, obviously X-wing.
Yeah, I don't want to be a basic, Karen or anything, but it's gotta be X-wing. I think
I'm an A-wing guy.
A-wings look sick. They look tight, but so do I. They all look cool. What are we joking?
Except
Y-wings are more
wings.
bombers, right?
What was that?
Y-wings are
bombers.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
A-wings, X-wings are like the all-around. A-wings are your fast strike fighters, and then Y-wings are like bombers.
Now we're going to transition to a different podcast though, so we
got
to move off this.
But they're vehicles.
They are, but yeah, I did not think to include those because it just felt too obvious.
Yeah, same here.
Well,
you guys took most of mine, but I do have a couple of comments I wanted to share. The first one came from Adam Zed. He said, as a DeLorean fan, I have to say the Deluxo in Grand Theft Auto 5 would be my favorite. Plus, who doesn't like a vehicle that can fly at the push of a button? Now, I did not use that vehicle in Grand Theft Auto 5, but I picked Adam's comment because I actually loved the part in Back to the Future on the NES. The very last level lets you drive the DeLorean, which is like about a 40-second stage, and that's it. You dodge lightning bolts and hit the whatever cross thing across the street at exactly 88 miles per hour. And let me tell you, you had to earn getting to that point. Like, the DeLorean's like probably the coolest part about the Back to the Future trilogy, right? Maybe the hoverboard's cooler, but the DeLorean's freaking cool. And you get a Back to the Future game, and there's not a DeLorean to be seen until the very last stage, and it was hard as crap to get there. And then you play for like 45 seconds, and it's gone, but it was still cool.
Oh man, I just thought of a vehicle.
You did? What is it?
The Interceptor.
The Interceptor.
From Spy Hunter.
That was good. You stop it?
What?
He just smashed his other one that he had.
It was on my list too. Yes,
Sorry.
The Interceptor was really cool. Especially the PS2 one.
Yes,
was even cooler.
That's a prime example of it.
But I grew up with the original Spy Hunter, where it was just an overhead. It didn't look cool, but the fact that you could like throw oil slicks behind you or smoke screens to hit the cars, and you could drive into a moving semi-trailer, like Kit from Knight Rider.
But in PS2, when you would like take the ramp into the ocean, it would do a slow-mo 360 as it transformed into a boat.
Right.
That was pretty rad, man.
They did that in the original game too, where you could actually turn into a boat in the original game as well, but it was hard to get there.
Oh yeah, and then they would turn into it would be a shame because you want to get low health, so you turn into a motorcycle.
Yep.
Then you're at low health.
I that was a launch title, wasn't it, for the PS2?
Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like it was decent, but it could have been so much better. Can we get a new Spy Hunter game?
They made a Vita one in like 2015.
Was it any good?
They changed the car to red, and that annoyed me greatly. I haven't played it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It's just, it was an unnecessary change.
Well, Michael Bonovich agrees with you, Zach, on the R-Wing. He says, do a barrel roll. It can do a barrel roll, so of course it wins. Also, it's an awesome spaceship, kicks butt skimming the surface of a planet or in deep space. That was my favorite thing to do in Star Fox, was just go down in the water levels, go down to the like right above the surface and watch it like cut the water with the I don't know. It looked so cool.
It did, man. I mean, and you know what? It looked great in GameCube graphics on Dinosaur Planet.
That game
is great.
Boy, I had others on my list. If we're going to talk, and now this one is purely because I like the way it controlled. This is not like a cool vehicle by any means. But if we're going to allow animals or things that you can ride, the first game to me that ever got riding a horse to feel right was Gun. Do you remember Gun?
Tom Jane.
Was it?
Thomas Shane's the main guy in Gun.
wouldn't have known the actor probably back when I played it, but first off, we have so many games that are getting remade right now. Can we remake Gun? That was such a great Western.
Gun is awesome. It's a little, you know what? I played it not too long ago,
Yeah.
like right before Red Dead 2 came out, and I wouldn't say it holds up perfectly, but it is a lot of fun, and it's a little, it's more playful with the Wild West setting than Red Dead is too.
Right.
Because you're looking for
felt
like Aztec
arcadey.
gold or some absurd thing.
Yeah. But that was the first game that got the horse mechanics right.
Yeah, it felt really good. Yeah.
Like it felt like the way it was supposed to. Like what did I play up to? What was the Shadow of the Colossus? I think was around that era.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you guys like that game, but that horse maneuvered like garbage.
Don't you throw shade at aggro.
I did not like that. Even Epona didn't feel perfect.
You know, it's funny. I didn't think about Shadow of the Colossus because I always just aggro to me as a character, not a vehicle.
Yeah.
Probably because he's your only friend in the whole freaking thing. But I love aggro. My phone is named after aggro.
The other one was it's hard for me to talk about favorite vehicles from a video game without mentioning anything from Twisted Metal. So many examples, but my favorite vehicle was always Spectre. I always played Spectre, and I know it's not this type of vehicle, but it always reminded me of the 1963 split window Corvette Stingray. It's my favorite car when I was a kid, and it was the closest car in that game that resembled that at all, even though it wasn't the same kind of car. And it was my go-to. I loved that car because it had the coolest weapon. It had heat-seeking missiles that would go through walls. And it was awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That and Axel.
Yeah, Axel's very memorable.
Axel is just a dude strapped between two giant tires. Like his body is
so dumb.
His body is like welded into this thing. Like he's been cursed to be welded into this. I don't know. It was ridiculous, but it was
can't
awesome.
wait for that Twisted Metal TV show they're making.
I hope they. Is it still happening?
I think it's supposed to be like PlayStation's first big thing with their new studios.
Man, if they can make it as dark as Twisted Metal Black was, I don't know if you watched some of those like intro trailers. I was like, holy cow, that is dark as crap.
It's funny because the idea is so dumb. Demon
Like car
clown
combat?
ice cream trucks that murder dudes strapped to tires. It's just ridiculous.
But it was so much fun.
Yes, very much so.
The number of hours I spent playing Twisted Metal 2 with my brother back in the day.
That's the best one for sure.
And Sweet Tooth. Like, doesn't he like transform into a walking robot in one of the Twisted Metals?
Yeah, and 4?
Was that the PS3 one, right?
No, that was Black.
Black was on PS2.
That was
the PS3
Black.
one was just called Twisted Metal, but I do remember it turned into a robot.
Right.
That was one of the game modes. Was you were trying to build a giant Sweet Tooth robot where someone could build their giant like baby doll robot.
Right. Good times. There's a lot of cool vehicles in that game, but those two in particular stood out to me.
Well, if you're thinking of weird ones, Nate W threw out one. I know this isn't really a vehicle that you drive or anything, but Hollow Knight Stagways which was a fast travel system, but you ride a giant spider type thing to the different stations. I thought that it was really cool because it wasn't just a fast travel, but also added some lore. You can actually find the nest where they are born in the game.
Wasn't it like it's Stagways. Wasn't it a stag beetle, like those beetles with a giant like horn on the front of it?
Yeah, I think it was a stag beetle.
Yeah.
I need to go back and replay that game. I didn't finish it on Switch.
I'm the same. I haven't finished it. I have it on Xbox.
It's so long.
I know.
Like for a Metroidvania, that is an extensive game. You want to talk about a great value if you count time as like how much a game is valuable? You get a lot of hours for like the $15 you paid for that game, and it's on Game Pass.
Right.
Yeah.
Worth every
That's
penny.
a good call.
Kind of
So,
deal.
I actually forgot to read my comments.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Show a little love, man.
I will. First off, I love this choice. Brandon Smith, I have to admit the Regalia, the car from Final Fantasy 15, stands out to me. It's such a central part of that game. Plus, they let you customize the paint job a lot, so it really feels like your own. Add to the ability to convert it into an airship after completing the main game, it becomes even cooler.
Oh, yeah, man. And you can, there's a dungeon you can only get to by flying there.
Yep.
God, that's cool.
For me, though, like, Zach was saying this earlier, like, I found that to be more of a character in itself.
Yeah, honestly, you kind of do with the Regalia as well.
Yeah. That just whole road trip aesthetic. when I first saw that game revealed, and I was like, really? We're just gonna road trip with our buds.
I think it's great because you think of Epona as a vehicle because you don't need Epona, but you constantly need the Regalia or aggro.
Yes,
I think that's why they're with you.
I would always set the Regalia just to auto drive.
Yeah, and relax.
And just sit back and let it do all the driving, and then I would gain experience. I had the perk or whatever that would give you experience for driving.
Yeah. Well, it was just fun to watch like Gladio reading a book or Noctis just looking bored out of his mind.
Yeah. And then when
fun.
you get the little discs and you can actually play some of the music from old
Nier?
school Final Fantasy games. Was Nier in there?
Yeah, Nier was in there.
Oh my god. Of course.
Shows up everywhere. My other one was from Dalton Lucky. In Far Cry 5, one of the side characters had a specific yellow biplane. After the events of Far Cry 5, Far Cry New Dawn also had the same plane, adjusted to more of an amphibious vehicle with a mounted machine gun. Favorite vehicle in recent history. Man, I will tell you, I loved the crap out of that plane.
Was that like Bubba something dude? I can't remember his real name, but he was like
I can't remember his name either, but he had the...
He was in 4 as well, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't in 4.
I thought he was like a recurring character, like, or there was a character similar to that. It was like
there was a similar
was
one.
his
Isn't it like
name?
Hunk or something?
yeah,
Hank?
not Hunk, something
Herc.
like that.
There's a Herc?
Herc.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, the biplane, which then became that amphibious vehicle. The amphibious vehicle was stupid fun.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think of the Dodo from Grand Theft Auto 3, if you remember that.
The
think
Dodo.
so.
It was a plane, but it couldn't fully fly, so you had to like balance it. It was a lot of fun when you were a kid trying to see how long you could fly it.
I used the
Also-
helicopter a lot in Far Cry 4.
Oh,
Wasn't 5.
the buggy.
The buggy.
There's the one helicopter in Far Cry 4 that's like, it's
Oh.
not really a helicopter, but
Yeah, it's like a mini copter.
yeah.
Man, I'm so ready for Far Cry 6,
I
guys.
don't think there are helicopters in Far Cry 3.
I don't think they were in 3.
Yeah.
I think they first started in 4 when you're in the Alps.
I admit I'm also excited for Far Cry 6, Scott.
I'm
Mostly
just
because
so ready for more.
Giancarlo Esposito is there.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about all these vehicles, and you know what's an absolute shame? Is there's no great light cycle game.
Oh man, could you imagine doing that in 3D?
An
Like playing
open world
that game?
Tron game? Are you kidding me?
I actually had on my longer list, I had the light cycle, but I was like, I can't really include it because the only games I could think of was the one Tron game from like the 2600.
Or
it-
the arcade.
It was in the PS3 one, Evolution, but
Yeah, but
it wasn't the best part of the game.
no.
But man, I guess that kind of goes in the X-Wing category though, of like, it's not really a video game vehicle.
Although Tron 3 is happening with Jared Leto. Did you see that?
I did.
They got a director.
They do.
It's weird because there's a pretty big question at the end of Tron Legacy, but that's okay.
I feel like I need to
I will
rewatch it
agree.
again.
Yeah, it's
You just watched it at my house not that long ago, man.
No, I know. I'm saying like whenever that comes out again, I need to go back and rewatch it. I've seen the original Tron so many times.
I've seen
Let's
both
go ahead.
many times.
I've never seen the first Tron.
Want to mention before we head out of here, any
Sorry.
vehicles that we despised. Sam Will Frederick says the original Mako. Is it Mako or Mako?
The Mako, like the shark.
Okay. The original Mako from Mass Effect 1 was the bane of my existence in that game. Like the vehicle was only attached to the wheels via rubber bands or something. Sam, I think I mentioned this to you on Facebook, but that section of the game is literally why I gave up on Mass Effect 1.
People, I wonder if it's as bad as we all remember.
As a guy that started with Mass Effect 1 years after it initially released, yeah, it's that bad.
Okay, what if I didn't totally hate it, Mass Effect 1, but didn't like it? I wonder if it's gotten worse with age.
We'll have to do an experiment.
It
I still have it sitting over
It
here.
was annoying because it would always just fall over.
Yeah, and I felt like I was just running across a barren planet.
Yeah, there's nothing to do. That's true.
But I had to go seek out something.
Wasn't it so bad they made a joke about it in 2?
I think they made. Yeah, I feel like they did in 3 as well. And then Andromeda I want to say try to bring it back. And maybe that explains why people don't like Andromeda. A game I've now owned for many years and have still never booted up.
You've never booted up the game?
I bought it on sale for like $5 once, like 3 years ago. And I've never booted up Andromeda.
Wow. I played Andromeda.
Was it as bad as everyone says?
I mean, I don't have the comparison.
No,
It didn't.
Was it good?
It was playable, but it didn't grab my attention for very long.
Okay.
But
I
also had no tie to the series. Like I had no drive to keep going.
I was thinking the other day about what is the Game of Thrones of video games, where the brand has just been so ruined, even though it was on top of the world. I think it's Mass Effect.
Think so?
I feel like
we
it's
haven't
lost
got the
all
remastered.
of its, I think Mass Effect's lost all of its cultural cachet.
That's too bad because that's like all anybody talked about for like forever.
Right? Like Mass Effect 2 and the hype ramp to Mass Effect 3 was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And the
ending
was brutal, just like Game of Thrones. And they tried to do another one, and nobody showed up for Andromeda.
Yep. Well, didn't Andromeda also have like a bunch of technical glitches, like ridiculous?
Yeah, but you could think of people forgive technical issues if it was the next Red Dead, it would still sell, you know.
Yeah, people still buy Bethesda games, right?
It's a perfect.
You
example.
shut your mouth.
That's a perfect example. Fallout 76 still sold out, you know. Oh, that's good. Vehicles I hate: the jet ski from Uncharted. That came to mind.
I don't remember hating the jet ski.
Hate it to death.
Man,
yes.
You also replayed them recently. I haven't.
Yeah, you would have to stop to shoot exploding barrels that were coming down waterfalls at you, and then there were people be sniping you from leagues away, but you had to hit them with a grenade launcher. But you could never take the jet ski to top speed because you always had to stop to dodge a barrel or an enemy or something. It was just not fun, and it also controlled like dirt when you're trying to get up those waterfalls.
Man, it's been a while since I played the first one. I have that collection though. I should go back and fire it up. It's been.
Oh, you know what's also not great? The Batmobile from Arkham Knight.
No, that control. What? Why do people hate that? I will admit that in that game there was probably too much of it for that game.
I think A, it's too much, and B, it doesn't check out with Batman, the character.
What do you mean?
That he would rig his Batmobile to be a freaking battle tank. Those missiles are explosive. That makes no sense.
Because Batman doesn't kill anybody. Yeah,
exactly. It's just absurd. And part of the disappointment is in that first, dungeon, quote unquote, that you go to in the game. You're using it all the time to like help you get around and stuff, like via remote viewing. And it was so fun and so clever, and then they never do that again in the entire game.
Yeah, there's like a couple spots where you had to use it to traverse, like you use it as a crane or something, but that was about it.
Right. There are a couple Riddler trophies you're like, oh, that's kind of clever, but it was never what that first dungeon was. But when you played it, you're like, this game is going to be freaking insane. And then the creativity went away.
And there was a boss battle towards the end where you're following this giant tank around the streets of Gotham.
You had a stealth, tank.
Like a stealth tank.
And then if you want to do the side stuff and you want to fight Deathstroke, you repeat that boss battle, the exact same boss battle, and you have to hit him 5 times stealthily instead of 3. And then a cutscene plays out. You're like, you want Deathstroke, the ninja assassin. You just fight in a tank battle.
Wow.
It's pretty dumb.
Sucks.
Wah, wah.
It just felt so slick, man. And then like when he like jump out of it while it was running.
That was cool.
It just looked awesome.
It would just like launch you above skyscrapers and stuff. That was cool. Whenever you had to like get in and out of it, it was awesome. How about that? Like when you're like gliding and you press the button to get in it and you just dive bomb into the Batmobile.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
That was very, very cool. CB, did you have any that you hated?
I have 2.
Okay.
2 that I hate very, very much. The tank from Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh, okay. Wow.
The tank.
Yeah, Da Vinci's tank.
Da Vinci's it's a circular tank with like cannons that come out of it. But I could not 100% that game because one of the missions to get a trophy, not a trophy, but an achievement, was you had to be you couldn't be hit during this segment.
I remember this.
Oh.
And it was impossible.
I'll say it's not impossible, CB, because I did it.
You shut your mouth.
But
I did it too.
It was not fun.
Oh, that thing was miserable. I hated that. The other one I hate, but I also love, for a different reason, because I love to torment people with it. The steam-powered carriage from Gran Turismo.
What? I did not know this was in existence.
I didn't know it was a thing either.
Yes, the Daimler Chrysler, and not Daimler Chrysler, but it was like the Daimler steam-powered carriage that has 1 horsepower and tops out at like 5 miles an hour. And you're like, oh, cool, we're going to race the Nürburgring. You can use this.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
And the first time somebody did that to me, I was like, this is miserable. That thing is stupid. It shouldn't be in a game. It's dumb. That, and also the scooter from Gran Turismo 5, from Grand Theft Auto 5. The one that, like, when you're going up a hill and it just, nope.
It just runs out. Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because
so
wasn't it called like Rockford Hills in Grand Theft Auto 5?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. That thing is so dumb. Because I love the motorcycles in Grand Theft Auto, but I hate the scooter, and you always seem to find the scooter.
You do seem to find the scooter. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto 4. You'd always find the bad motorcycles.
Mm-hmm. What about
Guys,
you?
that was
What
a
do you
fun.
hate?
That was. I could not think of one that I hated. I mean, I really can't. I know there's got to be some out there of ones that just control like garbage, but you know what? What was L.A. Noire? That was a Rockstar game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated driving the vehicles, and that it just felt awful. But I always wanted to hear the conversations that the guys were having because they felt like that was interesting.
God, I love that.
So
game.
I would just auto drive and
It's
let
so
the thing
good.
drive because I hated it.
Rockstar's second best game.
Why can't we get our
Behind.
sequel like a one in the same vein as that?
And it's such a smart game to remake now with the motion capture we have now.
Yes.
They did remake it.
Like a sequel, like a proper new facial technology. Because now the lies could be more subtle now.
But at the time, do you remember how cool and innovative that whole concept was?
Yeah, of course. It's so cool. And that specific fantasy has never been replicated of being like the cop in a procedural drama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you would solve cases every 45 minutes in that game. It was just like watching it was I'm annoyed
The thing
No.
that bothered me about that game, although it would probably be cool to go back and replay it now because it's been so long I don't remember the cases, but I hated investigating and finding objects and then pick up something and you sit there and look at it and go, oh, well, this is worthless. Why'd you let me pick it up?
because it wouldn't be
hated that.
fun otherwise.
I know. It just,
I turned off all the chimes and stuff, so that way I had to actually like scour the environment.
oh, really?
Yeah, and what I really loved about the game was they give you a gun and they let you use it like 10 times.
Yep. There's hardly any shooting.
I love that.
It was such a good game.
More of that. Guys, that was a fun topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I feel like I don't want to go through all of CB's 26 in his list, but we could have easily gone on and on and on about that. But that was fun. Stay tuned for next week's topic. Don't forget our phone number, area code 347-746-2278. Or if you'd like it easier, 3477-GO-CAST. And you can leave us a voicemail and we will do our best to read it on the show for you. That's going to do it for this episode of the Gaming Outsider, though. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
That new Transformers anime on Netflix is pretty great.
You're the second person this week to tell me that.
War
It's on
for
Cybertron, right? Yeah.
War for Cybertron Siege.
I was
It's-
actually going to start watching that tomorrow.
It's way more nuanced than you would think for a Transformers anime. Like they don't. You kind of understand what Megatron's about.
Huh.
All right.
Like you start to empathize with them a little bit?
You understand where he's coming from and what he wants for Cybertron, and they like. It's the first time I feel like I've seen where Optimus Prime is not always right. It's cool, man. Like there's a lot of shades of gray, if you were.
Nice.
As
I
you
like
were.
it. CB, how about you?
I don't know, man. Just it's another week. I have nothing to recommend this week. So
Well, hopefully next week you can recommend Transformers.
yes,
It's
hopefully.
only 20-minute episodes.
That's
I like
it?
that.
Yeah, is
That's
nice.
disappointing.
They're
No,
doing-
that's what they did with Castlevania as well, and it was great.
Yeah, they're doing 2. They already said they're doing 2 more. So you got more to look
Alright.
forward to, but it tells a nice, condensed, quick story. I appreciated condensed storytelling in this day and age. When there are nothing but shows everywhere you blink, it's nice to have one where you're like, oh, I can finish that.
I actually
Nice.
that was like the same way with Unsolved Mysteries. It was only like what 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah.
The new one. It's pretty good.
Isn't that kind of nice a little bit?
It is. But then I'm left wanting more.
That's what I want, though, CB. I want to feel like I want more. I don't want to feel bored by the end of it.
I agree. I will say, I mentioned at the top of the show, but I'm finishing up Big Bang Theory, 2 episodes away. I
That's
don't
insane.
understand the absolute hatred for that show. We're not treating nerds the right way or representing nerds. I enjoy the characters. And as a guy that watched all 12 seasons in roughly 2 to 3 weeks, because I just had it on in the background while I was working.
How many episodes is that?
There's 24 per season, so 24. It's,
So at least more than 240?
yeah, so 288.
Come on, you're a teacher.
Or 288 episodes.
200, 248? 208? Yeah, no, 288. You're right. Yeah. I feel like I'm in
So
second grade again.
I know, right? I'm enjoying it. I've enjoyed it. To be fair, it's been on in the background while I'm working. I'm not like
That's still
staring
kind of,
at
it's still a little disgusting.
Yeah, but I'm definitely ready for it to. I'm definitely ready to move on, and I'm looking for another series to do while I'm. See, the thing is, I don't want to like start a new series that I've never
Seen before?
watched. That I have to, I just want to have something in the background. I was thinking of rewatching Breaking Bad. 'Cause
That
I haven't
70s
watched
show.
that.
I was gonna say that 70s show.
I
Yeah.
actually did. I already did that 70s show.
Oh, really?
That-
My comic shop always has that 70s show playing on repeat.
Love
That
that show.
show's really good. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Zach, thanks for being here. CB, thanks for being here. The Gaming Outsider, as a reminder, is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear in the show is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. Be sure to check out his site at stemmagemusic.com. That's STEMAGE Music. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.